His political career and achievements. Everything about the Graph and Zohran Mamdani. His life and everything about him. Part 1. Zohran Mamdani, born October 18, 1991, is an American politician who has served since 2021 as a member of the New York State Assembly from the 36th District, based in Queens. A member of the Democratic Party and the Democratic Socialists of America, Mamdani is the presumptive Democratic nominee for mayor of New York City in the 2025 election. The son of Professor Mahmoud Mamdani and filmmaker Mira Nair, Mamdani immigrated to the United States with his family when he was 7 years old and settled in New York City. After graduating from the Bronx High School of Science, Mamdani earned a bachelor's degree in Africana Studies from Bowdoin College. He worked as a housing counselor and hip-hop musician before entering politics. He was first elected to the New York State Assembly in 2020, defeating four-term incumbent Arevella Simotas in a Democratic primary. Mamdani was re-elected without opposition in 2022 and 2024. In October 2024, Mamdani announced his candidacy for mayor of New York City in the 2025 mayoral election. His campaign platform includes support for fare-free city buses, public childcare, city-owned grocery stores, a rent freeze on rent-stabilized units, additional affordable housing units, comprehensive public safety reform, and a $30 minimum wage by 2030. Mamdani also supports tax increases on corporations and those earning above $1 million annually. He has been sharply critical of the state of Israel's treatment of the Palestinian people, pledging to abide by the International Criminal Court arrest warrants for Israeli leaders by arresting Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu if he were to visit New York City. During the Democratic primaries, Mamdani received endorsements from prominent progressive politicians, including Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Mamdani became the Democratic Party's presumptive mayoral nominee after Andrew Cuomo conceded the 2025 New York City Democratic mayoral primary. Zohran Mamdani was born on October 18, 1991, in Kampala, Uganda. His father is Mahmoud Mamdani, a former Indian expatriate in Uganda of Gujarati Shia Muslim descent who is a post-colonial studies professor at Columbia University. His mother is Mira Nair, an Indian-American filmmaker of Hindu Punjabi descent and a recipient of the Padma Bhushan Award. His father gave him the middle name Kwame in honor of Kwame Nkrumah, the first president of Ghana. When he was 5, Mamdani and his family moved to Cape Town, South Africa. He attended St. George's Grammar School while his father worked at the University of Cape Town. The family moved to New York City when Mamdani was 7, living on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. He graduated from the Bank Street School for Children and the Bronx High School of Science, where he unsuccessfully ran for vice president. Mamdani attended Bowdoin College in Maine, where he co-founded the school's chapter of Students for Justice in Palestine. He graduated in 2014 with a bachelor's degree in African Studies. Before running for office, Mamdani worked as a foreclosure prevention and housing counselor, assisting lower-income non-white homeowners in Queens with eviction notices and efforts to remain in their homes. He said the experience motivated him to run for office to address the housing and affordability crisis. Mamdani is a fan of hip-hop and has composed and produced rap music. In 2016, under the rap moniker Young Cardamom, he collaborated with Ugandan rapper Heb on an EP titled Sida Mukyalo, which is Luganda for no going back to the village. In 2019, he released a single titled Nani under the moniker Mr. Cardamom. Cookbook author and actress Madhur Jaffrey is featured in the single's music video, playing Mamdani's grandmother. Mamdani curated and produced the soundtrack for his mother Mira Nair's 2016 film Queen of Katwe. As the film's music supervisor, he was nominated in the 2017 Guild of Music Supervisors Awards. Mamdani entered New York City politics as a volunteer for Ali Najmi's campaign in the 2015 special election for the 23rd District of the City Council. In 2017, Mamdani joined the Democratic Socialists of America, DSA, and worked for the campaign of New York City Council candidate Kader El-Yatim, a Palestinian Lutheran minister and Democratic Socialist from Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. Mamdani served as the campaign manager for Ross Barkan's 2018 bid for the New York State Senate and was also a field organizer for fellow Democratic Socialist Tiffany Cabin's 2019 campaign for Queens County District Attorney. In October 2019, Mamdani announced his campaign to represent New York's 36th State Assembly District, which encompasses Astoria and Long Island City in Queens. He was endorsed by the DSA, running on a platform of housing reform, police and prison reform, and public ownership of utilities. Mamdani's June 2020 primary victory over four-term Democratic incumbent Arevella Simotas took almost a month to call, and he won the general election with no Republican opposition in November. Mamdani was re-elected without opposition in 2022 and 2024. Mamdani is a member of the DSA's 9-member State Socialists in Office bloc in New York and a member of the Muslim Democratic Club of New York. As of January 2025, Mamdani was a member of 9 assembly committees: the Committee on Aging, the Committee on Cities, the Committee on Election Law, the Committee on Energy, the Committee on Real Property Taxation, the Black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic and Asian Legislative Caucus, the Puerto Rican/Hispanic Task Force, the Asian Pacific American Task Force, and the Task Force on New Americans. Mamdani had been the primary sponsor of 20 bills in the Assembly, 3 of which became law, and the co-sponsor of 238 bills as of May 2025. As of March 2025, he was the only state legislator in the mayoral race not to miss a session in Albany in 2025. As a member of the Assembly, Mamdani helped to launch a successful fare-free bus pilot program and participated in a hunger strike alongside taxi drivers. 2025 New York City mayoral campaign. On October 23, 2024, Mamdani announced his candidacy for mayor of New York City in 2025. His platform includes support for free city buses and a rent freeze in rent-stabilized housing. Mamdani also wants the city government to operate 5 grocery stores, 1 in each borough, to drive down grocery prices. Mamdani's platform includes support for universal childcare and for the construction of 200,000 new affordable housing units. He also supports public safety reform and a $30 minimum wage by 2030. His platform calls for tax increases on corporations and those earning above $1 million annually. He has been critical of the State of Israel's treatment of the Palestinian people, pledging to abide by an international criminal court warrant by arresting Benjamin Netanyahu if he were to visit New York City. U.S. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez endorsed Mamdani as her first choice for New York City mayor, saying Mamdani has demonstrated a real ability on the ground to put together a coalition of working-class New Yorkers that is strongest to lead the pack. She appeared at a rally for Mamdani on June 14th. On June 13th, Mamdani and Brad Lander cross-endorsed each other in the primary. U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders endorsed Mamdani, saying, "Our nation faces a fundamental choice. Will we continue with a corporate-dominated politics driven by billionaires? Or will we build a grassroots movement fueled by everyday people committed to fighting oligarchy, authoritarianism, and kleptocracy?" Also on June 16th, the editorial board of the New York Times wrote that it did not believe that Mr. Mamdani deserves a spot on New Yorkers' ballots, calling his experience too thin and likening his agenda to a turbocharged version of Mr. de Blasio's dismaying mayoralty. The Atlantic's Michael Powell likened his campaign to magical realism, claiming it was exuberantly disconnected from actual government budgets and organizational charts. After the primary election, President Donald Trump called Mamdani a 100% communist lunatic. The New York Times' chief fashion critic, Vanessa Friedman, noted the deliberate contrast between those sorts of radical descriptors and Mamdani's preferred dress code, which for his mayoral campaign consisted almost exclusively of a traditional suit and tie. "Dressing like an establishment guy offers a counter-argument of its own," she said. For most of the campaign, Mamdani trailed Cuomo in polling. While he and Cuomo raised similar amounts of money, his donor base was considerably larger than Cuomo's. However, a poll taken shortly before the June 24th primary election showed that Mamdani had caught up to Cuomo. First-choice results on election night showed Mamdani had a large lead over Cuomo, who conceded the race to Mamdani that evening. The result, which has not yet become official, is considered a major upset. The New York Times wrote that Mamdani's victory in the primary offered the starkest evidence yet that outspoken opposition to Israel and its government, and even questioning its existence as a Jewish state, is increasingly acceptable to broader swaths of the party, even in areas where pro-Israel Jews have long been a bedrock part of the Democratic coalition. When Cuomo conceded the primary, Mamdani became the Democratic Party's presumptive mayoral nominee, Shortly thereafter, U.S. Representative Andy Ogles wrote Attorney General Pam Bondi, alleging that Mamdani had concealed support for terrorism when he applied to become a citizen and asking Bondi to revoke Mamdani's citizenship and deport him. In a tweet about his letter, Ogles referred to Mamdani as Little Muhammad and anti-Semitic socialist communist. If elected, Mamdani would be the first Indian American, first South Asian American, first Muslim, and first millennial mayor of New York City. Some Republicans have attacked Mamdani using Islamophobic, racist, or xenophobic content. Shortly after Mamdani became the presumptive nominee, U.S. Representative Andy Ogles wrote Attorney General Pam Bondi, alleging that Mamdani had concealed support for terrorism when he applied to become a citizen and asking Bondi to revoke Mamdani's citizenship and deport him. In a tweet about his letter, Ogles referred to Mamdani as Little Muhammad and anti-Semitic socialist communist. Representative Nancy Mace suggested a connection between Mamdani and the 9/11 terrorist attacks, and Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene posted an image of the Statue of Liberty wearing a burqa. Others associated with the MAGA movement, including Laura Loomer, Charlie Kirk, and Donald Trump Jr., also spoke of Mamdani in the context of 9/11. The Council on American Islamic Relations noted a significant increase in Islamophobic content on the social network X the day after Mamdani became the presumptive nominee. On July 1st, President Trump said, "A lot of people are saying he's here illegally, and his administration would be looking into it, also threatening to arrest him and withhold funding for New York if he refused to comply with Trump's mass deportations." After Mamdani became the presumptive nominee, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand appeared on The Brian Lehrer Show and criticized his past statements, specifically referencing what she described as references to global jihad. Host Brian Lehrer issued an on-air disclaimer stating there was no evidence Mamdani had supported Hamas or violent jihad. Gillibrand dismissed the clarification and continued her criticism. Her comments drew backlash from progressive politicians, including City Councilman Chi Osei, who called for Gillibrand to face a primary challenge in 2030, and from journalist Mehdi Hassan, who stated that Gillibrand should resign for falsely smearing Zohran Mamdani as a terrorist. Gillibrand's office later said she had misspoke in the interview. However, on June 30th, she called Mamdani to apologize for her remarks. Mamdani began to identify as a democratic socialist after Bernie Sanders' 2016 presidential campaign. He is a member of the Democratic Socialists of America. Mamdani supports a universal pre-kindergarten childcare system. He has proposed giving all new New York City families baby baskets containing products such as diapers and nursing supplies. Mamdani introduced a bill to eliminate New York University's and Columbia University's state property tax exemption and direct those funds to the City University of New York system, which has historically struggled with funding. In an interview with Der Blatt, a newspaper associated with the Hasidic movement of Judaism, Mamdani expressed a desire to defend Hasidic yeshivas institutions for Torah study from accusations of failing to meet state educational standards. He stated that "I will listen to your leaders on education, and I will work to protect you from anyone who wants to disturb your way of life." I stop at this point today. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring the world's incredible stories. Soon, we will publish Part 2. Thank you for watching.